Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Tea with Publicity, brought to you by my favorite tequila hard seltzer, Mamitas. You know it. You've heard about it. You love it, as do I. It comes in 4 delicious flavors: Paloma, mango, pineapple, lime. Also, the fact that, I'm not looking at a sheet. I just know this because I just know the beverage so well at this point. It's gluten-free, which, I'm a gluten-free girly. So for me, it's perfect. And you can get it in variety packs, 4-packs. It comes, you could order it via GoPuff or drinkmamitas.com. So get yourself some tequila hard seltzer and let's drink together. Cheers, everyone. So let's hop into this week's episode. There's a lot I want to discuss. First of all, Will Smith slapped Chris Rock in the face. So we will be getting to that in the Spill the Tea segment. I have Hannah Berner on, who's a friend of mine. You know her from Summer House or her comedy tour or her podcast, Giggly Squad. We get into just life and love and this and that and talk about her relationship. And it's a really interesting conversation, a longer one, but a good one for sure. We never could shut up when we're together. We'll break down Bridgerton and some of the more pop culture moments in the Spill the Tea segment. And as always, we will do advice. We'll give some advice in the Ask Alyssa session. But first, I want to get into a topic that I've been wanting to discuss, which is deciding. First of all, hi, Gia, my producer.
Hey.
Gia's here. So I had this epiphany last week. Sometimes I listen to podcasts and I get bits and pieces of things from things that I listen to. And I feel like sometimes I wait for this aha moment. And it wasn't really until last week that I had that aha moment. First of all, I talked about this last week's episode with Kate. I think seasonal depression is very real. I definitely think I was in a winter slump. And I was I did talk about this a little bit with Kate, but since that, I've gone more in depth into this, so I'm going to touch on it, and some of it might be repetitive, but I think it's useful information. I was listening to Lauren Everett's on the Skinny Confidential, which I had mentioned, and she said, you just decide to do something. If you want to do it, stop talking about it, stop thinking about it, just do it. And it kind of hit home. And then I was listening to a podcast where they were interviewing an addict, which I can't compare myself to an addict, but a lot of the process that addicts go through, the way they, I was telling my therapist this and she's like, you're talking about the 10-step program. I was like, okay, well, it's helpful information for a reason. Basically at the end of the day, he was saying he takes inventory over his day and he's like, what did I do that was good and made me feel great? And then what did I do that I could work on tomorrow? And it's not a way for you to bash yourself. It's a way for you to take inventory over your actions. So I found that really useful. I found the deciding information really useful. And I was just listening to all these podcasts with all this information. And I was like, okay, I'm going to decide. I just have to decide. So what I've been doing since last week, a few things. So I want to talk to you guys. It's a lot, kind of. And I want to preface this that I know not every day will be the same and not every week is going to be perfect. For example, yesterday, I didn't do some of the items on my list, and that's okay because we're humans and we give ourselves grace. And I don't want to enter into this being I have to do XYZ every single day, because the truth of the matter is, I think the biggest thing I need to let go is the thought that I'm temporarily doing something and it's going to come to an end. I think that's the thing that debilitates me the most. So what I've been doing is I made a commitment to myself when I wake up in the morning, whatever time that is. If it's a weekend and I'm getting out of bed at 11, fine. I'm going to give myself that grace. But the thing I'm doing is I'm waking up, I'm making my bed, I'm opening the blinds, and then sometime throughout the day, if it's the first half hour of the day, great. If it's not, I'm going to meditate for 5 minutes. Nothing crazy. So this morning, for example, I didn't meditate, but I'll do it when I get home from work. And I want to be flexible with that. And what I've been doing when I meditate, which I talked about last week, is putting my legs up on the wall, putting a rose quartz mask on my face. And it's literally 5 minutes. I Google If it's morning time, I Google on YouTube 5-minute morning meditation, and all of these come up, and you could pick one, like 5-minute morning meditation for starting your day in a positive mindset, or meditation for letting go of anxiety, whatever it may be. The 5 minutes go by so fast. And as I get used to this and build that muscle, I think I'll transition into doing it longer. So that's one of the things I've been doing. The other thing I've been doing is like the 10-step program, which is so like random. I won't call it that, but I've been taking inventory over my days. So at night, when I'm lying in bed, kind of like when I pray, I know I'm not like super religious, but I always pray before bed. I know that's like a weird, I shouldn't say it's weird at all. It's not expected maybe. Like I'm not like this like religious person, but I always just kind of before bed will like thank God and like say, protect my family, protect me, protect everyone. And during that time, it's almost like a meditation for me because it puts me to sleep. I don't think I've ever finished a prayer because by the time I started, I'm asleep halfway through it. So during that time, I kind of just think about, okay, like what did I do today? What can I work on? Not in a negative way to beat myself up, but just like what is a productive way for me to better myself? I've also been reading more. I've been trying to listen to more like self-help podcasts, not podcasts that are just like mindless. Because I think I noticed that I've been super avoidant of my feelings by tuning them out with reality TV or pop culture podcasts versus listening to the harder stuff. So again, this is just something new. Oh, I also bought a Pilates membership, so I'm trying to work out more. Like I'm really just diving head in, and I just made the choice. I'm going to decide for myself to feel better about life, have a better outlook, build my confidence, just health and wellness on every aspect of my life. So if you guys needed a push to do the same thing, this is your sign to decide. And if you guys need journals, I launched merch a while ago. I've journals, one that says manifest and one that says self-care club. So you could start there, order a journal. Everything's always linked in my bio under my merch, and we could start journaling. I write in mine a lot. And oh my God, there's one more thing. Guys, I've implemented so much. Okay, so my last thing, you know the Siesta Key. Do you watch Siesta Key, Gia?
No.
Okay, so Chloe from Siesta Key, I was watching literally an MTV show and was like, oh, I'm going to take this health and wellness tip. She said something on the show that I thought was really interesting. She said that what she does every morning is she writes down 3 things that she wants to let go of and 3 things that she wants to manifest. So I've been doing that. Again, not every single day, but when I remember to, when I feel like it, I will write down 3 things I want to let go of. And usually those are like beliefs in myself, like beliefs that I can't follow through with things, or beliefs that people are judging you, whatever it may be. And then I manifest 3 things that I want for myself, whether it be that day, whether it be in the scheme of life. So again, that's another exercise that you could do in your journal. And yeah, maybe I'll start talking about this more if you guys are interested in it, just to keep us all accountable. But I think it's really helpful. And I do want to get into my interview with Hannah now. We talk a lot about mental health. So more of this, if you're into this, more of this to come. And yes, don't forget, really quick while I have your attention, my live show is April 7th in New York City. I've lined up such amazing guests for you guys. A reality TV star male, a reality TV star female, a humongous TikToker. It's going to be amazing. And I think there might be some other surprises, because what ends up happening is the more people hear about the live show, the more they're like, oh, my friend's coming. Oh, my this is coming. Now I think that this other guy from Bachelor Nation might come. So I don't want to make any promises, but I think it's going to be really good. And New York City, tickets are cheap. I made them $35 because I want it to be accessible for everyone and affordable. And of course, we'll have an after party. Everyone that goes gets a free Miami Vice, which is like so funny to me. And the after party is like aesthetic and pink and cute. And I'm just so excited. So everything, again, everything's always linked in my bio if you just go to my Instagram or TikTok. But here is the interview with Hannah. Hello, everyone. I am back with Hannah Berner for a second time.
I'm so excited to be here. This is not the second time we've podcasted. Me and you go way back with podcasting.
True. This is probably like our sixth time, but second time on Tea with Publicity.
And I'm so excited because as friends, this is like our catch up. This is just raw. We're raw dogging it. We haven't like met beforehand.
I have no notes.
Out. Yeah.
Also, I wanted to catch up with you, so I'm like, I'll just have her on the podcast.
I also I'm loving TikTok now. Like TikTok has fully gone to my head. I'm like, I'm obsessed with it.
You're a huge star.
No, I don't. No. But I'm joking with my fiance. I'm like, TikTok's gone to my head. I love it too much.
No, I've been noticing lately that you're out of control. Like you are,
out
your
of control.
Views are up. Your videos are no, you're really crushing it.
Well, I appreciate that. You've inspired me because you've been on the TikTok game forever. My thing is I didn't have the balls to post my comedy clips on it because comedy, they're very strict. Like, don't burn material.
Yeah, because if you go on a tour and you use the same joke.
Yes.
Hi, okay.
Why am I talking like this?
Same. I feel like I have like a New Jersey accent right now.
I mean, we can talk like that if you want. I'll throw some sugar cookies at you.
I felt like I was like, yeah.
I was just talking like I was a smoker. But yeah, with the comedy world, it's very traditional sometimes. And I was afraid if I posted too much stuff, I burn it. And then I realized no one remembers the fucking joke. Put it out there. Do I have hundreds of men saying women aren't funny? Yes. But am I going to fight the good fight? Yes.
Oh, totally. You're out there killing it. No, I gave gaslighting advice, like how to be a good gaslighter. And everyone's like, ooh, gaslighting TikTok. I never knew I needed this side of it. And I'm like, welcome.
I just like the freedom of creativity. I feel like Instagram, even though it's evolving to be like photo dumps, Instagram is still a curated photo dump.
Oh, beyond.
And I know you've gone on your own journey of uncuration, decuration. What do you want to call it?
I'm out of control on
and
Instagram.
I'm obsessed with it because I also feel like I always felt like you had kind of two sides to you.
Yeah.
Not to make this all about you, but
it's okay.
It's okay. It's like you had like Alyssa on Instagram and then like the Alyssa I'd hang out with.
Yes.
And now I feel like when I'm like, oh, it's my friend.
Yeah, like
not like the girl who like is so unattainable and aspirational that would bully me in high school.
100%.
You know what I mean? Not that you were mean, but I was like, she'd think I'm a loser.
No, people like get this. We literally just had this conversation because the other day I was like, yeah, no, I'm a tomboy. And Gia, my producer.
Okay, let's not go there.
And Gia, my producer, was like,
she's like, you know Tom Brady? People say we're like the same, me and Tom.
She's like, you're the girliest person I know. And I was like, no, but like.
She's like, once when I was drunk, I ran to the bar.
Fast car.
That's called you like expensive shit.
And then me and my friends, I was in a group chat and I was like, guys, am I a tomboy? Thinking they'd all say yes because I have this perception of myself that's
maybe
not reality.
Of the people you grew up with.
No, and they all wrote back, no, you're not. And I was like, and then we realized after having a long TED talk of me like giving a monologue to my friends of why I'm a tomboy, we realized that I'm using the word tomboy like interchangeably with like not being put together.
Oh.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, like you're actually like kind of a hot mess.
Like I'm like you, like we have chipped nails.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, I lost one of my nails. It's not even chipped. It's gone.
It's just off.
There's no pinky on it. I put static nails on. We love static nails.
Love.
And I did something and the pinky's off. And you know what? We don't have time to put it back on.
No. You always have to just keep a little thing of glue in your purse.
I mean, you have to stay relatable somehow in this industry.
Oh, 100%. I've had those things pop off all over the place. It's kind of embarrassing if you walk in somewhere nice and your nail just hits the floor.
Yesterday, I did it at the comedy club, and the male comics, he's like, did you just lose a fucking nail? And he was like freaking out. I'm like, it's a fake nail. And he's like, there's a fucking nail on the floor. And they were freaking out.
You're like in a buffet line and all of a sudden it drops in the
it's like a pinky. And he's like, your pinky fell off. But anyway.
Wait, I have so many questions for you.
Yeah.
First, do we still go to the same therapist?
We do.
Oh, do you love her?
Oh my God, you guys, I've been deep intensive therapy. I wasn't in it last time I was on the pod, and I have been. I don't mean to be competitive with you.
Okay.
But she started it being like, you are too competitive with yourself, especially like you feel like if you're not successful, no one's going to love you. And then at one point towards the end, she was like, you are definitely dealing with some of the craziest shit any client is dealing with. And I was like, so am I the most crazy client? Am I winning? And she's like, no. But like, she's awesome. And to find a therapist for everyone who's like, I kind of want one, it's a pain in the ass to find, asking around your friend group.
Yeah.
And it was good because it's like word of mouth is better than Yelp. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
100% with anything.
And I feel like me and you have enough separation where I don't feel like I'm not like going on being like, Alyssa was so annoying.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. And also, like, they obviously can't tell you what other people say anyway. So it's not like you're ever going to know. But you don't want to, like, go the same one as, like, your brother or sister. Because then you're telling different stories of your mom or your siblings. And they're like, wait, I just heard this, but it was regurgitated to me the completely other way.
Yes. And therapy's good because I was at the point where I was going through a lot of dark shit. And it starts affecting people around you where you can't vent 24/7. Because when you're in a really dark place, for me, I need to speak it out or it eats me inside. Mm-hmm. But like, if you're calling your mom and ruining her day every day, like, we have to have some empathy. And I was able to, I have a notepad where when I want to vent about something, I'll write it down and be like, we'll save
this too.
Yeah, because you'll forget. So I'm like, instead of ruining someone's day right now with like my bullshit. Yeah. And I know it sounds fucked up. And obviously people will talk to you about stuff, but there's certain stuff that you know is meant for a therapist right now. And it's not meant to put on the people who you love because they're here for you, but like you also have to protect their energy too.
Also, you might just waste your time spiraling to people that you're not getting productive advice back from.
Exactly. Or they try to give you solutions and I'm like, I just want to vent. I'm sad. And sometimes you're sad and it's not productive to just talk about being sad to someone.
Totally.
And it's better to be like, this is not logical sadness. This is my anxiety. I'm going to put it in my notepad and bring it up next week.
I literally had anxiety today and started crying in a conference room alone. Like,
I love that for you.
Like, I don't even know what came over me.
I'm jealous that you can cry so easily.
And then, my new coworker, Joey Kamasta.
We love.
Who's newly obsessed with you.
Oh my God.
Wait, yeah, I have to tell you this. He came running up to me the other day and he's like, you know Hannah Berner? I was like, yeah. And he's like, I just started following her on TikTok. She's so funny. Like, she's really funny. It must have been one of your things.
He has incredible taste.
He's incredible. I'm like, you're funny,
He's the
Joey.
guy with the amazing eyebrows, right?
Yeah. So then, anyway, so I was like crying in a conference room today and he's like, all right, like, let me know, like, what's happening. Like, sorry, that was my phone vibrating. He's like, I'm here for you. And I'm like,
it's so cute. It's so cute.
Yeah.
But going back to TikTok, what I think's so great about it, this is just a TikTok promotional pod now, but the algorithm's so good that like Instagram, you see shit that you hate and it's just like, this is so annoying. And then you feel like there's something wrong with you. Where TikTok, like I'm seeing my IBS. I'm getting like fun cat dopamine videos. I'm seeing like the ADHD stuff. I'm seeing the people who are like talking about like how bad things happened for them to, realign themselves and like all these things that I need to hear in that moment. So I'm enjoying learning more about myself through that stuff. I have a crazy algorithm.
Do you fall into the algorithm that's like, if you're seeing this video,
yes,
it
100%,
is a sign.
100%. But this is the problem with those videos. I hate when they're like, I learned something that's going to change your whole life. And when you hear this, it is going to blow your mind. And I've been searching for this. And they keep going and going. Like, and I'm like, if you don't get to this in 10 seconds, and then I'll be like, fuck it, I'm not going to learn the meaning of life. And I'll scroll. Because I can't even read a long Instagram caption. I'm not about to wait 7 minutes for you to tell me one thing that probably is clickbait.
And they always have the same voice. And there's always like sad music in the background. It sounds like one of those dog commercials. Yeah. You know, that with the In and Arms of the Angels, like playing in the background.
Yep.
The dog.
And then, the aesthetic of it. So some of the self-help on TikTok is complete bullshit. Mm-hmm. But I do sometimes like the therapists who will say stuff about, attachment theories or, anxiety, the stories you tell yourself. I'm like fully into that shit.
I was going to say your algorithm is probably the deepest. Like there's probably like cats. And then like deep therapy.
And I'll randomly have tennis too. It's a little all over the place, but it nails it. But I also like to see who I attract, like what kind of people are into my stuff.
But I feel like now that you're on tour and you're doing all of these things, is your audience so different than like the Bravo audience, which is what you came from? Like, are you still, I don't know, has it changed at all?
1,000%. But it's funny. It's almost like I'm doing all these different things and I'm finding people from these things and like picking them, like coming on board. Like I was at Betches and people still follow me from that. Then, I did reality TV and but it's like a certain type of woman and
that sticks with you.
That sticks with me. I'm going to sound so fucking biased. I'm staring at the camera right now. But the women who follow me are the most funny, smart, successful bitches that I want to be friends with. And I'm literally being so braggadocious right now, but I will walk down the street and see a girl and I'm like, that girl's so fucking cool, and she'll look at me and be like, I love Giggly Squad. And I'm like, how did I find this kind of woman?
Like the best niche of the internet.
These women are fucking incredible, and I'm just so honored. But I also think there's similarities, like the girls who follow me like may have had similar struggles than me, or I don't know, but some people don't like their followers. Like some comics,
I feel so the opposite.
Some comics don't like their fans. Like they're like, oh, fucking losers. And it's like, that's like because you're not being authentic with yourself.
Well, because your comedy is rooted in your life experiences. And I guess every comics kind of is, but a lot of comics hate themselves.
Valid. And there are sad. And there are times that I do, but I think like the moments when I talk about my hatred towards myself, people relate to it in that kind of way. I mean, I'm talking about turning 30 right now a lot in my comedy.
But you're 30, right?
Yes. And I've turned 30 8 months ago, but I'm still like, I just turned 30. And the amount of women who are having the similar ideas. And I love getting people to question things. Like my recent thing I've been talking about is how people joke, like, they get you so scared that men are going to stop noticing you once you get like a gray hair, or like you get some they call it a fine line. They're like, do you have a fine line? I'm like, how fucking fine is this line that everyone's gonna hate me? And then I'm like, actually, I'd love to be invisible to men. How freeing would that be?
Yeah,
to not ever get kidnapped, to walk home at night without a worry in the world. So I like to spin these like traditional fears.
Yeah, what an easier life it would be. Really, truly.
Especially if you got your mans. You already have. If you have one already.
Wait. I want to talk about your mans because there was all those rumors going on that you and Des broke up.
Oh my God.
And then you were like, hey guys, like, we're still
I don't think I even addressed it. Because what happened, it was so funny. We went on a ski trip that weekend and I dropped my phone in the snow. And that morning, because if you're on a ski trip and things go well, it wasn't a ski trip. If you didn't cry every day, lose a toenail, break your phone, you didn't ski.
Sore knees. Like, it is the most volatile sport, but like, you got to get a photo. So I was at the Verizon store and I'm like waiting in line to fix my phone. Like, it was a low moment in my life. And my phone starts blowing up and everyone's like, I hope this isn't true. I hope this isn't true. Are you okay? Are you okay? And like, are you guys fucking kidding me? I'm like fighting with Verizon right now. And then I realize I have to, and Dumas is like kind of a big deal. Also,
I didn't realize.
You're on vacation
with him.
You should just posted a selfie.
Yeah.
See, okay. Walk me through like your publicist mind of not addressing it, because in my head, like as a former publicist, I don't think I think it would have been really funny to just post a picture like, hey.
I almost felt like Des and I have dealt with like so much weird shit with the public and reality TV, whatever, that I think people were saying that because I haven't been posting him, when I haven't been posting him because I really think, like, why?
It's no one's business.
Why are you posting your significant other? I don't care to be like, look how cute we are. Look how happy we are. I'm trying to fucking do comedy right now. Sorry, Des doesn't fit on my grid right now. Like, but also I think he needed a little break of like, he never went
scrutiny.
He also never went into the relationship to become a tabloid couple. That's not him. Like, he doesn't want to be.
That makes me really respect him.
He doesn't want to be doing interviews about like where our relationship is now and like and all that stuff. We'll go on funny pods talking about sex. We'll do like advice shit, but he's not in it to be a tabloid couple.
He'll do the stuff that he would have done without you.
Yeah, he's a comedian.
Shows.
I'm a comedian. That's why we fell in love. And also when you say like, do you have a different audience? My audience stemmed at first from like my tweets going viral and my comedy videos. So like the reality TV stuff was just like this cool opportunity.
It was secondary.
But it wasn't like in my heart how I like to entertain.
Well, because I remember we were friends when you first got on Summer House, and your Instagram independently, like you filmed Summer House, and then before it aired, you were blowing up on Instagram independently of the show before it even.
So it was weird to me for people to suddenly like care about my life and my friend group on TV, because I was like, oh, I thought we were just like joking about stupid shit. So if you listen to my podcast and stuff and Giggly Squad and Burning in Hell, I will open up about my experiences in my life, but I was never felt comfortable being that like tabloidy couple. But Des and I will be open and talk about shit, but I never want to use it for like money. Like, I never want to be like, look at us, we want money. Or
like whatever. You're together to monetize off your relationship.
Exactly, because to be honest, I don't think that that's good, like, karma for the relationship, if that makes sense.
Oh, I think it's awful.
And I think, like, people are scared to break up sometimes because of that. And also, you're just putting a relationship out there for, like, bad energy to come to it, if that makes sense.
And no, it's just, like, your relationship becomes so much about work then and partnerships.
True.
And, like, hey, we have to schedule this dance in together.
Yeah.
Hey, we have to schedule in this skit, where it's like, what then the lines, I think personally, I don't want to work with my significant other unless there's like some synergies and it works fine, but I don't want to be like a YouTube couple.
I also think to make it more relatable to people who haven't been on reality TV, to be like, if you think you have to post to prove to everyone that your relationship is good, that's not a good reason to post. I don't want to have that energy on Instagram where I'm like, we need a cute photo to remind everyone that we're cute. Like, people are like, are they still getting married? And it's like, I don't give a shit if you guys think because I haven't posted on Instagram that we're not getting married.
I love that.
It's because I'd rather people talk about my comedy.
I know, but I like that energy for you because I think as an outsider, you could have so easily been like, I have so much to prove to people. I need, like, that just shows the work that you've done. Because, no, honestly, now I'm like, I'm the therapist. No, because just like knowing when you have that many eyeballs on you, it could be really easy to be like, I need to prove to everyone around me that I'm so much better off now. And I'm so happy and I'm so in love. And instead, you're just like, I don't really give a shit what you think.
Yeah. And I also think like my relationship, I'm the most in love when I'm not asking the public for their opinion on my relationship, if that makes sense.
No, totally.
When I'm not using them as a mirror to tell me how good my relationship is.
Do you think you would ever, at this point, go back to reality TV? Or do you just, like, I'm not talking to the same show. I'm just saying, generally speaking, like, do you think you're so tarnished, like you're so traumatized from that one experience that everything's off limits? Or do you think you would go back and
I also think it's like, where do I bring value to entertainment? Yeah. Like, sometimes I feel like with reality TV, you can be put into like a character role. And I think I'm just more interesting fully as myself. So it's like, if I'm going to bring something, I'm kind of more interesting, less in like sound bites and like cut up,
so like a comedy
special. And shit. Yeah. And because reality TV was such a great thing for me to get a platform for people to like be like, oh, that girl exists. But like, I don't feel creative after it. Whereas now, like, even a TikTok, like, I feel like I created something. And I like the creative process of writing. I like the creative process of editing myself. And I like,
well, do you not know what it is? Control. Reality TV is no control.
And sometimes people are good with that, especially if I was drunk more.
I'm like the most sober, boring bitch.
Like, and I also do think like I love creating, and I do like being in control of, you know, in a good way, not like I'm a control freak, but in control of how I can affect people and what words I say. And I think there's a reason why like you don't see a lot of comedians on reality TV, because like sometimes it's hard. We're all about honesty, and sometimes like the honesty doesn't go well, or like sarcasm doesn't go well, or the sound bites don't hit the same. And it's like, I'd rather do.
And also like, you can't say anything these days. Like, just with, I'm not even talking about things that are like borderline inappropriate. I'm talking about things that you don't even process as something that people would be offended by.
I do think I'm better at being funny or insightful or like speaking up on things that I think people need to talk about than fighting with people. I'll be honest, I'm not great at fighting. I just like crying.
You also like aren't confrontational.
I'm the least confrontational. Like, you know me as like an actual person in a friend group, and like when if I have any beef, then I'm just like, oh, I'm okay. Like I'm gonna go. Like,
I want to see myself out.
I want to see myself out. Like, I'm not. But I love entertaining people, and I do think that my value, right now, or just what's bringing me joy, is creating funny content. And also like for women, I feel like for some reason I don't get embarrassed easily, and I think I need to use that to help like normalize shit that people other women are you know what I mean? Like, I've been on this farting thing for a long time, and it's been difficult, and we've been on a journey, but like I just feel like we don't need to clench our assholes our whole lives.
Yeah, you're on like a road alone.
And I have like a beautiful ass, and if you're not gonna fuck me because a little air came out of my ass that smells like death, like that's on you, bro.
It is. It's like, unfortunate.
And so there's just things that I like to speak up about. And then even I have a whole bit now about like the awkward parts of sex that people don't talk about, like sitting on a guy's face and how like that's so much more complicated. And I just think if that's what I'm put in the world for, as opposed to fighting people, that will be my journey.
I have a funny sit on your face story. So one of my friends, this was like years ago, like 5 years ago, or maybe we were in college and we were talking about sitting on someone's face. And my friend, she was like, I just don't get it. And we were like, what do you mean? She's like, how does he breathe? And we were like, well, you know, like your nose, it's kind of, I don't know. And we're explaining it to her. And she thinks the whole time that we're talking about this, that you sit backwards. So your butthole is covering your nose. Like she pictured like reverse cowgirl.
And you know what?
But none of us were understanding.
Some people might fucking love that shit.
But we didn't know what we were like, well, I don't get what you mean. And she's like, aren't your like butt cheeks like covering his nose? And we're like, why would they be covering his, like none of us understood. And then finally she's like, which way are you sitting? And we're like, forward. And she's like, oh.
You see, and there's no like rule book, and I totally understand how she got there, because certain things happen in her life and no one ever spoke about it. No one talks about it. I remember the first time I did it being like, oh, it's not like a sit, it's a hover.
Oh yeah, no, you're not.
We're
face planting.
I say we're hovering like you're at Coachella at a porta potty. Like I love that I could suffocate him if I wanted to with my labia?
That
Absolutely.
could actually be a great way to take someone out.
Honestly,
and then you could just be like, oops.
That's the next serial killer documentary on Netflix. You like take his money and you suffocate him while sitting on him.
It's like, it's such a good way to lie. Like you could be like, I didn't mean to. Like you just passed out.
I'm obsessed with this. This is the next con movie on Netflix where you just go to guys' apartments, steal all their shit. The serial sitter. And it's like they wanted it. They wanted it. And
like, he told me he likes to choke. Sorry. I love your love for documentaries. Like I really appreciate it because there's some dark shit out there.
Well, I do think it's important when you feel bad about yourself to watch that dark shit and be like, you know what? It could be worse. I could be in jail for a lot of reasons.
So my friend feels this way. Another friend, when we were like in high school, she used to watch Teen Mom to remind herself that people had it worse off than her. And I was like, that is fucked up.
This is fucked up. But every now and then when my world is crashing down, I'm like, at least we're not pregnant. But there will be moments that I will want to be pregnant, and then it'll probably switch. Yes. But sometimes you just have to find perspective. One thing we've learned from our therapist, I do think is, and from TikTok.
We talk now like our
therapist and TikTok. I've learned a lot about like, a lot of our pain comes from the story we're telling ourselves. Because life is like us basically trying to figure out how we exist within the story of our life. And you just keep putting yourself in different roles and characters, and someone could do something and make you think that people think that way about you, and it almost becomes just like a self-fulfilling prophecy sometimes when you think of yourself a type of way. And that's why manifesting is fucking real. When you actually think like, I deserve this, I want this, it happens.
Yes.
So for people at home working on what your story is of who you are, and that know that that story is very malleable, and that story might be super wrong. Because you ever like,
my stories are always wrong.
Yeah, I'll talk myself into like a tizzy about like my career or something, and then get on a phone call with someone and they'll be like, you're killing it.
Okay.
And I'm like, with who?
I was just going to ask you that. Do you what did my sister call it today? She texted me and she's like, you're future thinking. Hold on, let me find the exact term. She sent me an article. My sister always sends me like resources. I'm like, bitch, I'm not going to read this article.
Yeah, we don't do articles.
She said, I think you need to stop future thinking so much. You'll drive yourself nuts.
Well, that's anxiety, the future.
I know. So mine's only with career. Like, I'm not thinking about kids and a marriage. I'm thinking about like, well, when I eventually fail, like I'm so insane.
Oh God.
I know.
I do have like
maybe not that dark, my thoughts, but I'm more just like, well, if this doesn't work out, then here's my plan B.
One thing I did learn about reality TV, my biggest fear was being misunderstood.
Well, look at that.
And people not liking me based on something that wasn't me, right?
Do you know that's my biggest fear?
So with that said, because I think it's a lot of people's biggest fears, what happened to me was when it happened, you're never going to like it. You're not going to be like, I taught myself to be happy about it. I taught myself to like not care. It's that you learn I'm still here.
Yeah.
And I'm
didn't
okay.
kill me.
So when you're sitting there being so scared about shit that happens in the future, it's more like you learn you're going to be okay regardless what happens to you. It's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to suck. But like, it's part of your awakening to realize like, this is not things worthy of wasting your energy towards.
And also, like, it's a story in my head.
Exactly.
Like, that didn't happen.
Well, yeah, maybe in, like, someone's lens it happened, but in other people's lens it didn't. And it's hard because part of it is, like, kind of cocky, but you have to self-train your own lens to, like, not have imposter syndrome, not think the worst of yourself, but that's reparenting yourself so that the voices in your head are not so negative. Because you deserve to at least be supportive of yourself.
100%. I fight it every day to be like, stop manifesting like a negative future.
But also the thing with failing, I guess what I'm trying to say is like, so what? I think if you fail fast. I'm very into like, if you do something bad, you address it. This was not good for me. This was a bad career decision, whatever. And you move the fuck on. Because to put it in a sports way, like they say Michael Jordan missed like hundreds of shots going for the winning shot. We're a Barstool, right? You gotta do it. So like, if he hadn't gone for all those, he wouldn't have had any of the winning ones. So you can sit back and not fail, but you're gonna be a fucking loser. I think, and isn't that the ultimate failure?
I think you and I are similar in the sense that like, we might be scared, but like we fail a lot and we keep going. Like you and I, like we try new things all the time.
Yes.
And like even though I'm so scared and I have this anxiety, it never would stop me from doing something.
I talked to this comic who is spectacular. Her name's Esther Pavitsky, which you should have on. And she's killing it. She's on like a Hulu show. She's has like a Comedy Central special. She has like a dream career. And I was like, do you have any advice for me? And she goes, I've been told I'm the best at rejection.
She just kept failing.
And she just said like, I can take it all. But when you see her, you don't see all the rejections. And people will talk to me like and be like, oh, how'd you get here? Whatever. When you know there's been months where everyone's like talking bad about me or something. And people are like, I would never want to be in Hannah's shoes. And then they do want to be in my shoes. And it's like, you can't live life like that because you're going to have ups and downs every fucking month in your own head. So it's like you kind of have to retrain that narrative that you're not great and you're not failing. You're existing and you're hard and you're strong. And you're going to be okay with whatever the journey is. Because also when you do get whatever you're looking for, you're still going to be the same person.
Totally.
You don't become some like yogi once you make $1 million and once you get that TV show. You don't suddenly, you're still the same person sitting in the Uber stressed about something.
Well, it's like if you don't fix the root of the issue, the other things on the outside, like you might let's say your goal in life is to make $1 million, but you have all these other things. And you're like, when I make that $1 million, I'll be happy. If you don't fix the other shit, when you make the $1 million, you're still going to be the same miserable bitch that you were.
Well, it's also like a lot of people talk about losing weight. And then they'll say, when I was my skinniest, I was my most unhappy. And you're like, wait, that makes no sense. Because your whole thing was when I get skinny, I'll be happy.
Yes.
So we're not lying to you guys. These are like legit stories from people all the time. And it's almost like dating too, where they're like, if you're not happy with yourself, you're not going to meet someone. And the truth is you can date someone, but they're not going to make you happier because you're still going to hate that shit about yourself.
100%. I think it's like, okay, question for you, because I have all these things that I'm like you, like I take in all this information, I read the books, I do the things. How do you implement these like thoughts or realizations that you have into your life?
That's the thing also, once you watch it, it's not like, oh, that makes sense, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
It's just you have awareness now, where right now, like, I'm aware when I start spiraling, I now can say, that's a fake story. We're getting creative. That's a fake story. Or I'll be doing something and I go, that's OCD. So instead, or that's I'm depressed. I'm not a miserable, horrible person. I'm going through a depressive episode. And I've come to terms with like, I think I'm a creative person because I have a lot of stuff going on mentally. Like I'm not a simple thinker.
No, I get what you're saying. Like you're very complex.
They call it neurodivergent, I guess. I have some issues.
I'm probably that bitch too.
Yeah. And it makes me great in some ways and it makes me fucking miserable in some ways. But I've learned that it's not something that I'm mad at myself for. It's like I at least know the process and I'm empathetic when I know I should go for a mental health walk, but I don't fucking feel like it.
Yeah. So you give yourself grace in those moments that you don't want to do it.
I'm already like fighting myself so much that it's like you don't have to now be mean to yourself more.
It's so weird because I feel like I'm the same. Like I'm constantly fighting myself in my head. Like over little things, like cook dinner. Nah, stay in the couch. Cook dinner.
Yeah.
Like the littlest like tasks.
Yeah.
I'm arguing with myself over.
But what's funny is like that stuff, once you like get your dream job, is still going to be there.
100%.
When you see someone in the street, might they recognize you? Yes, but you're still dealing with the same insecurities at home or the way you're thinking. So for me, it starts with addressing it and understanding it, which is therapy. Then being like, you're like this because of this. So once you have that awareness, it doesn't attach to you as much.
Or you might have that intrusive thought, but then you're able to just, like you said, like check it and then switch your direction. Yeah.
And it goes back to the old first step is admitting you have a problem. And it's like, admit it's a problem. Like, don't be like, oh, I'm the worst person to ever live. And then like let yourself sink in that for 5 hours. Instead go, we're having an intrusive thought. We're hating ourselves right now, and that's okay.
Yep.
And that's okay.
I love you because we could always talk about mental health.
Yeah, well, and also, now that we're ranting, that like happiness is not good things happening to you. Happiness is already within us, of us just being content and how we handle the bad things that happen to us.
Totally. What do you do if you're having a bad mental health day? Like yesterday, for example, I wanted to reset. So I worked from home. I journaled, like I did my things that I needed to do to feel good, washed my hair, like the simplest of things that I was just like, if I do these things for myself, I will feel really good and cared for. What do you do? Because you're traveling so much and you're on planes, trains, and boats. Like how do you ground yourself?
I used to feel guilty for like not meeting up with a friend or not wanting to like take a phone call. But I realize now that like I need to get my energy back from being alone. And I literally used to be mean to myself, being like, you suck, that you don't want to go out tonight. Like, you're a loser. You're not fun. When now I'm like, oh, this is so good that you have a week of shows that you have to be on every night, meet and greets, social media, all this shit, that I'm embarrassing. Like, I sound like that girl, HR. You're embarrassing. I will get with my cat. We're on the couch, and I will watch documentaries at like embarrassingly long.
It's your me time.
Yes, and I will order food and I will be super fucking lazy and people will be like, you work so hard, and I'm like, yeah, but then I let myself fucking rest.
Wait, I said this when I was on your podcast because you asked people like, are you ever glut? No, what's the thing where the laziness question?
Yes. I said, when was the last time you were a lazy piece of shit?
Yeah, and people are always like, oh, one time last year. And I said to you, I was like, that shit pisses me off because when's everyone watching these Netflix shows? Like,
yeah, I'm like, how are you caught up on your shows?
Yeah, how did you watch Love Is Blind, bitch? Like,
yes.
There's no way that people don't binge TV shows.
I have trouble with sleep recently because I'm doing comedy at night and you get home and you're all jazzed up. So you can't fall asleep till like 1 or 2. And then when you're jazzed up, you're like, oh, maybe I'll make some TikToks. Maybe I'll start researching something. Maybe I'll watch something I get really into. Next thing is 2 or 3. And then in the morning, you like can't get up. And then by the time you're up, and this happens over and over again.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I've like, you don't know what people are dealing with. And also with the traveling and stuff, you never get on a nice routine of like working out, eating healthy. So one thing I learned recently, I think Gabby Bernstein, I had her on my pod and she's incredible. And I was like, what's your best advice for like dealing with hell, being successful? And she was like, invest in yourself first.
Someone else just said this on a podcast the other day.
Because the other shit will come, like the comedy stuff, that all will come, but it won't come if you're not good.
Yep.
So like that was kind of what I needed to hear because I'm a workaholic. Because I'll be like, I always have to answer these emails over like me, like watching TV. But it's like, no. You can't answer those emails the way you want.
Until you're okay. And you know what you need. And sometimes it does suck to go on a mental health walk or to make your body move, especially when you're depressed. But I learned like, fix your shit and watch the rest of the stuff in your life get better. You can't just be chasing something on zero energy or with like a lot of self-hate. Like, because if you're not going to stuff with a motive of like love and joy and creativity, like I couldn't have a lot of creativity when I was depressed over like last year. I wasn't making funny videos because my brain like wasn't able to get out of this like specific like pain, like the state that it was in.
And then once I got to reflect on it, I started to find the funny in it. And then next thing you know, I'm posting a lot. But that's okay. I didn't force it when I wasn't able to.
Yeah, you gave yourself you needed that time to heal.
Yeah.
when you're traveling this much, like, how does your relationship fit? How do you guys make this work?
Oh my God, great question. So we're doing this fun thing where we're long distance before getting married.
Yeah.
So,
which is weird because your relationship was so backwards because like you went from like meeting COVID to living together to now long distance.
We moved in together after like 2 or 3 months and it was during COVID out in the Hamptons where like no one's around. So we were just like fostering dogs and whatever. And then we were stuck with like reality TV stuff. Mm-hmm. But the great thing is Des in Ireland, his tour that he had to pause.
Wait, he's
literally in Ireland. Like this is long ass distance. Yeah, he's in a whole different country.
He's an Irish lad.
Yes. And we love Irishmen.
We love.
Yeah. So we're doing the same thing. Like,
yeah.
At night, I'm going to do my show. He's doing his show. We have our like time when we're very good at communicating in terms of it's just tons of phone calls. Like it's again the Uber, I call him. He gets it from this, he calls me. We're talking on the phone like 4 to 5 times a day. We're just kind of best friends like that.
Also, it's like you're both in the entertainment industry. It kind of reminds me of just like celebrity couples. Like the way it is for entertainers.
I totally understand why sometimes like if one person is in it and one person isn't, like someone's shooting a movie and one isn't, it could get super fucking annoying because you're so busy. But I do think he has an understanding, like he gets it when I'm like, oh, I'm doing podcasts all day, like I'm not free, because tomorrow he'll be doing the same thing as me. The only annoying thing about it is I feel like if I was dating a guy not in entertainment industry, he'd be more impressed by me. Yeah. Like I'll be like, I just got like a new 15 minutes of jokes in the last 2 weeks, and he'll be like, yeah, I told you should be working on that. Where like an accountant would be like, you're a genius.
You are so creative, babe.
But where he's like good, like he's tough on me as in like he believes in me. Yeah. But sometimes I'm like, can you just be fucking proud of me like a fucking boring dude would be?
No, but like boring dudes also might not get it.
But yeah, boring dudes might be like, wait, you're going out every night?
Yeah, like
to work. Yeah, exactly. We love the stand. You have to come by. So yeah, we're long distance. And
how did you like Ireland?
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm going to Ireland next week. We're doing long distance, but like every 3 weeks he's coming to America or I'm going to Ireland. I'm just like super cultured right now. Ireland is so green. The people are so funny. The food is so good. Like the butter is just so pure. And I fell in love with it and I was like, I want to move here.
Okay, because like you always talked about, I feel like not traveling that much out of like the country.
Yeah, I never really did.
And now look at you, this Irish girl.
Well, it's like going to LA. It takes like 5-6 hours. And
it's not that bad.
It's not bad at all. And it's kind of brought me, especially when sometimes you could be in such like a niche world, such as like Bravo. Going to Ireland, you realize like how no one knows what's going on. No one cares.
So I'm not important at all.
You're not important. And like I also was like practicing doing some comedy in Ireland, which is, I have a joke about like sour cream and onion chips and fuck boys. Oh. And like they don't say chips to them as French fries. Yes. And like I said, and then I have a joke about like Advil and like they don't call it Advil. So I've had to kind of like change stuff, but it's challenging. It's fun. And I feel lucky that he's exposed me to that kind of new culture and lifestyle.
That's what finding someone's about. You
know?
Yeah,
I highly recommend finding someone who is interesting because I get bored real quick, especially like I love a hot man, but I don't care how hot you are, like 6-7 months in, if I don't feel like you're like teaching me things, and I don't mean like I'm a baby, I'm just a baby, but like I'm actually fascinated by like his brain and like he's smarter than me. In a lot of ways.
I think he's,
and I mean that not, I mean that not like I'm so stupid, he's so smart, but like there's things that I learned from him and I never went into relationships caring about that. And the next thing you know, you're like, this person, I'm not sexually attracted to them anymore. They don't bring me any like value in terms of like good conversation. So what am I doing? And I think that could be New York dating a lot.
Oh yeah.
And I don't give a fuck how much money the guy has. That shit gets so boring so quick.
No, I think that's amazing because like he challenges you, and that's, everyone says marry someone who challenges you.
I know, and it's annoying because like he calls me out of my bullshit, but also like if he didn't, I'd walk all over him and then I'd get bored.
I think it's a perfect relationship for you.
It's also funny because we dealt with a lot of criticism that he's like older than me and people calling him old, and I'm like, get yourselves a zaddy, I swear to God.
Okay, for the record, people just say that because he's gray.
Also, he looks so much hotter with gray hair than before.
Also, he's so attractive. Who gives a shit?
And I was like, also, wait, like, why are we having ageism right now?
But my point,
like, you're all gonna get old too.
But my point is, like, he's not that far off from other people we see on Bravo, like Jax or this person or that. Like, my point is, he's the same age as like everyone we see. The
difference between Dez is that he doesn't drink, and he has like a job that requires him to be places,
and he acts like an adult. Yeah,
I also highly recommend. I've had some friends message me and be like, hey, I'm seeing a sober guy, I feel weird about it. Sober men are so great to date because you never have drunk fights, you never have hungover darkness the next day, and none of your interactions are due to drunk issues. And because he's been sober since he's 19, you would never know he's sober. It's not like
I didn't even know until
some people, it's like their personality. I'm sober. And it's like with him, he fits into everything. And I also am at the time in my life where I'm not trying to party a lot.
You never were. Let's be honest.
Let's be honest, bitch. Let's be honest. I was good for like a night, and then it was like, she's gone. She's out. Or like I show up first hour at the party, and then I'm like, I need to go to bed. So I've found someone that I think partying lifestyle is important.
Do you know, I think I could so easily be with someone that's sober because I'm like you. If I drink sometimes, like if I have an occasion to get drunk and have fun, I don't go home and pour wine. I don't really like drinking.
Let's be honest, we're Italian. We want to eat.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't care.
It's important to have the same taste in food. Like we'll sit together and he'll just be like, do you want to get some Thai? And I'm like, oh my God, I want to marry you. Like that's an important bonding experience. Did I gain weight from it? Yes. Was it worth it? Yes. Get that ass fat through love is important. I do think there's been a lot of relationships in my past and my friends too, where I'll see a guy you really like, but then you see his day to day, like he just loves partying. And that's not me. Like I don't want to wake up and drink with you.
It's like a guy that goes to CrossFit every day at 4 a.m.
Exactly. You have that. And then the guys who like in a moment where instead like you can have an experience with them, they're like, let's go to the bar with my friends, which is fun in college. It is fun. And even early on in your 20s, yes. To meet people, yes. But once you're in a relationship, I thought going to the bar was like to meet people.
My thing is I want to do what my parents did. Like growing up, they would go out to dinner with their friends. And then like now in their 50s, 60s, they party. I love it.
Good for them.
Like later in, not actually, but like they go out and they're social and they have, like, I think when your kids are out of the house is when you're able to be more social again. Yeah. But in your like 30s, 40s, 50s, it's like nap time.
I'm also extreme, and this is probably toxic advice, but in my head, because I was always an athlete growing up, partying was kind of like considered kind of naughty. And I was always like, what are people celebrating? Because I was so goal focused. I'm like, what are we celebrating? Like, have you done what you want to do with your life? Like, what are we partying for? And then I realized like, oh, people enjoy alcohol.
I was gonna say that's like such an extreme outlook.
It's such a bad outlook. But then like I guess I kind of understood alcohol, but I was always obsessed with like liking myself sober and like working on myself. But I was like an extremist.
You're like, I gotta lift tomorrow.
I had a lot of like coaches in my ear about like, you better be the best. So I think it's like, do what makes you happy, but if you guys can't soberly be boring and sit on a couch with each other, because that's also my parents have a very boring successful marriage where like they get home from work, they eat dinner, they watch the Knicks game, and in the morning they catch up on stuff. You hear them just like chatting and laughing, and that's the simplicity I want.
Yeah, it's pretty. That's like a nice, beautiful life. Just like laugh with your partner. And,
Also, side note, it's funny you brought up the Des Instagram stuff. You know how hard it is to get a good photo of you and your man's on Instagram? It's fucking impossible. And to be honest, it's because he looks good most of the photos. There's the lighting, there's a lot of things that have to go on. And I'm like, I'm not gonna work this. And you think a guy's gonna wait for the full photo shoot that we need to do to get the shot? No,
never.
So do I want to get in a fight with him, or do I want to not post on Instagram?
I would like to see a new picture of you two.
I know,
selfishly.
I know.
You should make like a Finsta or something.
I know. Well, it's fun. We actually don't have that many photos together.
I know. When you go to Ireland, like we need a photo dump.
We might do like a photo shoot, but like obviously the wedding will have photos. But it's like, you're so right. They have like 2 photos of us that
like,
they use.
I need one thing. Like, come on, give me something.
I know. I think he also just like, he's always lived his private life pretty private.
Yeah.
So he's a little averse to being like, let's show.
Honestly, though, that's so much more attractive than the alternate. So,
well, he's definitely not using me for fame. It's a little annoying, but yeah.
Does he get recognized when you're out in Ireland a lot?
When he's in Ireland, he's like
Like the man.
Everyone knows who he is.
That's
wild.
so
but I love
funny.
that I met him in America where I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But he now will like be performing at the Comedy Cellar and stuff, and people will recognize him from Summer House. So it's like weird they'll be like, "Where's Hannah?" But we kind of have that fun connection where people know us together.
Yeah.
But it is fun to go to Ireland where people don't know me and they know him.
Yeah, that's so funny. I feel like I'd be proud. Like if I was with someone, he got stopped, I'd be like, "Oh."
I also think it's fun though that he's in a different place in his career. Like he's done so many things that he wanted to do. Where I joke is that he's fun because they're tired. He wants to like play golf and take care of the kids, and I'm like, sign me. He's like really supportive of my dreams right now because
he's like, I did it.
He basically was like, when I was in my 30s, I was so selfish with my career, and he's like, be selfish. I'm here for you, and I'm like, oh, I just orgasm.
That's so nice.
But if he was in his 30s and I was in my 30s, I don't know if it would have worked out.
You wouldn't be together.
We'd both be too busy.
He wouldn't have been trying to settle down, and vice versa.
Exactly.
Like, you wanted to settle down with him because he was at where he was at in his life.
Yeah.
And
if I'm just looking for a man who's like successful and hustling, like, yeah, I could have been with a guy in his 30s, whatever, finance bro. But I was really needed to find someone who was like gonna be my partner in crime.
Like that he challenges you. I think that's what really makes it work. Because you used to, I knew single Hannah, and like you did walk all over guys, kind of. Like, not like you just, I don't know, like your old shtick that you used to talk about on podcasts and stuff, like that you dated and it was different, and now it does. I feel like it's more of like an equal versus like,
I respect him.
Yeah.
And it's not that I didn't respect people in the past, but I never considered them like, I'm gonna marry anyone.
You're like, we're just dating for now.
Yeah, because in my life I was like, I'm not gonna get married at 26. I'm not a child bride. But if you think of the ages, like I got to 29 and then I started to kind of, and he was 45, and we were like, I guess this is time to like meet someone who's, it's nice to have someone so I can focus on my career, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like I don't waste
the security
time.
kind of.
Yeah, and I don't have to waste time about like, oh, I'm gonna go on dates with people because dating is so hard. But I put in my time. I met a lot of guys. I had a lot of good experiences. I had bad experiences that all led me to where I'm at. And I think I really knew that he was good for me from the bad things that happened to me with men.
I'm so happy for you.
Thank you, babe.
Where could everyone like follow you on tour? You're on tour with Giggly Squad too,
I'm on
right?
tour with Giggly Squad. We're like we're doing Boston this weekend, which should be fun. I'm doing Denver for stand-up, and I will be at a Moon Tower Comedy Festival in Austin, which will be fun.
I love Austin.
Austin is so cool.
Sick.
And yeah, follow me at Being Burns on TikTok and Instagram.
Amazing. Thanks, Han.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, let's get into Ask Alyssa. Gia will help me give some advice this week. This one's interesting. It was short, so I asked for more information. She said, I am in love with my friends with benefits, but I know he doesn't feel the same. Help, what do I do? I said, I need more info. How long has this been going on? What are your ages? She said, this has been going on since October. That's when we started being friends with benefits, but I've had a crush on this guy since June. I knew it was love in November. Whew. I said, and he made it clear you're just friends. She said, well, when we started being friends with benefits, I told him I had feelings and he completely turned me down. But then in November, we both admitted to having feelings for each other. And then after 2 weeks, he yet again said, never mind. And now it's been many mixed signals since. We stay up texting for hours and know each other so, so well.
Get out of there, girl.
I don't love it.
Get out of there. Sorry.
It's
the same thing every time with the same type of guy. And I see Nick Viall does like these brutal things on TikTok where he's like, oh crap, I forget what it says.
No, I've seen him.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's like these girls like make up these like excuses like, oh, we text all night. But it's like, yeah, because he doesn't really have anyone else to talk to. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like it's easy to text all night because you're just filling a void for him.
Yeah.
If he wanted to seriously be with you, he would be with you.
I always say that, like, anytime you're in a situationship and it's not becoming serious within 2 to 3 months, get out of there.
I agree. I also just think you're only really hurting yourself. And I do think with friends with benefits, I do think there's a chance where if you were to cut them off, they would maybe come around if they're just dragging their feet and it's just easy for them. But I also think there's a chance they just know you're not their person that they're going to end up with, and they might never come around. But either way, what's the benefit for you? What I always say, and I urge you all to ask yourself this, why would you want to be with someone that doesn't want to be with you?
Yeah.
Don't you want to be with someone that is head over heels for you, puts you first, prioritizes you, is emotionally intelligent? Why are we lusting over people that truly have no desire to be with us? Mm-hmm. Because I have more worth in myself. I want to be with someone that respects me.
Yeah, completely agree.
So you really have to ask yourself that.
Yeah. When me and my boyfriend started first hooking up, it was literally 2 weeks, and he was like, I want you to be my girlfriend. I feel like if he is into you and he wants to date you, he's going to make that known, mm-hmm. and he's going to make you his girlfriend right away. The build up, he's just pushing, because he wants the easy access, so he's just pushing back mm-hmm. the commitment so that he can keep it going on.
Yeah. Yep. Until the next best thing in his mind comes along. That's the issue. Because then the second they meet someone they want to commit with and settle down, you're out of the picture. And it's nothing about you. It's nothing about your worth. It's not, oh, I'm not good enough. It's you're not the right person for each other. So you can't take it as a blow to your self-esteem, because not everyone's meant to be each other's person. Mm-hmm. And it is what it is. Especially if you believe in soulmates. There's only a few out there for each person. So it's not every single person is going to be your forever person.
Yeah. And that's not, she was it turned into love in November. That's not love.
True, if it's not reciprocated.
A reciprocated thing, and you can feel it, and love is between two people, you know? Mm-hmm. I think she just thinks. Yeah.
Yeah.
She thinks.
Well, you're caught up in it. And I've been there.
Totally.
When I think about guys that wouldn't commit to me in the past, it was torture.
Oh my God, yeah.
Nothing's more there was this guy in college who I loved. Not actually, because like you said, I just was obsessed with him. And every time I had a boyfriend, he would all of a sudden show interest in me.
Of course.
And then I'd be single, and then he'd act like he wanted nothing to do with me. And I would cry in my bed to my friend Amanda all the time. I'd be like, why doesn't he like me?
Yeah.
And he would play these games with me. And I'm like, that's torture.
It's the worst.
I wish I knew then what I knew now.
Yeah, I know. I was in a weird thing with my high school ex for a really long time. And it's just it's just sad.
It's sad. It's heartbreaking.
Yeah, and then you look back at yourself, you're like, why did I let myself do that for such a long time?
I remember it was agony.
Oh, totally. Oh, the drama.
Because
was so
I was
there.
just so I don't get it. It was such a mind fuck to me.
It's mind games, and you just I want to say 9 times out of 10 you're gonna end up coming out of it hurt. So might as well just rip the Band-Aid off. And who knows, maybe when you leave him, he'll be like, oh shit, I actually do really like her.
Yeah, wow, that was the love of my life, and I fucked up. But maybe not.
Yeah.
So get out. Get out right
Leave.
now. Yeah. Okay, next, ask Alyssa. Ask Alyssa body image relationship with food. Hey, Alyssa, love the pod. Okay, so I am 22 and I've always been thin. I have a thyroid problem, fast metabolism, and it's genetics. With all of that, I heard since middle school that I'm a stick, that I need to eat a cheeseburger, etc. I used to always laugh at those comments off and think nothing of it. Within the past 2 years, though, I have felt the pressure to stay tiny. I work out a lot, eat super healthy, and pressure myself to stay small. I'm currently at my lowest weight and I'm so unhappy. I nonstop think about food, do body checks, etc. My mom had an ED when she was my age, so she has been able to recognize the signs. Together we are working on getting me help, which I'm so grateful for. I guess what I'm asking is, how could I stop worrying about what my effing body looks like and just live my life? I know deep down that what I look like is the least interesting thing about me, and that literally no one cares what my body looks like, but why can't I let that go? Tips on how to release those negative and insecure thoughts and just love who I am. That makes me sad, because I get it. I think, first of all, I'm so happy that your mom recognized those signs, and it sounds like you recognize them, and you guys are working on a solution to overcome them. I think that's one of the first steps. There's a really good book that I just started called Eating in the Light of the Moon, and it's just all about body image and women and society. It's really fascinating. And I think that could be a really good help for you. I think therapy is always a really great option. But it's really something deep within yourself. You can't, I think it's hard to just make that switch one day to be like, oh, just kidding, I'm not too thin. Like you said, it consumes your every thought. So you need to really start putting it into practice. Like every time you find yourself like counting a calorie or feeling like you're not eating enough, you need to recognize it and check yourself and be like, wait, this is an unhealthy pattern. And it's just part of that awareness. I'm obviously not like trained in this, but I do talk about similar things with my therapist, so I know. But I think you just need to reach out for help, like you said. And it sounds like you're aware that you're doing this and you need to just work on getting to a place where you are happy. Because like you said, you're at your thinnest, but you're your most unhappy. And it just goes to show like our weight isn't tied to our happiness. It's so interesting because it's like we're unhappy, so we either eat a lot or restrict our food. That's not why your weight is what it is. It's really because of something internal. Yeah. And then your weight's just reflective of it. Yeah. If that makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
So I think it's really good for you to continue to work with your mom and just kind of get to the bottom of it so you don't have to deal with this the rest of your life. You're 22. You're really young. Just nip this in the bud. What's the saying? And hopefully you could just change your habits and find like food freedom.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Let's spill the tea. So, the slap heard around the world. That was something else last night.
I mean, I did not know. I mean, I didn't know what I was watching. I'm not gonna lie. So Jack Mac was doing like some Twitter space about like, and like NYC Twitter, whatever. So I was like listening to that, and then I look up at my TV and I was like, wait, something's happening. And I was like, oh my God, wait, I think Will Smith just hit Chris Rock. And I was on FaceTime with my boyfriend and he was like, wait, what? And I was like, no, I think that was fake. Like I thought it was a scripted thing, so I rewind. And then I was
Everyone did at first.
Yeah, and I was like, oh wait, I think that was real. And then because the audio cut out, so I was like, I think that was scripted. Like I think it was something scripted that went wrong. And then I saw the Australia TV.
Yes.
And I was like, that is 1,000% real.
Well, I feel like whenever audio cuts out, it's real because they show us television on a delay. So when something cuts out, it's because they see it before we do. So they have time to mute the feeds or whatever. So I wasn't watching. I was in a group chat with my friends just talking. And one of them's like, sorry to interrupt conversation, but what the fuck just happened with Will Smith? And I was like, what? So I turn on my TV. I caught the tail end of it. That I saw on Twitter, the version from Australia surfaced, which was unedited, showing the full altercation. And I was like, oh, shit, that's real. Like, that really happened.
Yeah.
And then I tried to keep watching in slow-mo because I'm like, did he do one of those things where you slap your hand? You know how, like, in movies, you slap your hand? And I'm like, did he do that? Did he actually make contact with his face? And then I was like, oh, my God, I think he actually slapped him. And I think the most peculiar thing of it all is how the rest of the show just carried on like nothing happened.
We were just talking about this. I felt so bad for Questlove. He was the guy that accepted the award after the whole thing. Ooh. He won Best Documentary. And like no one was paying attention or listening to what he was saying. Like everyone was just so taken aback by what just happened. I mean, it was the wildest 30 minutes of TV ever.
I think it's really easy to be mad at the Academy being like, oh, we should have escorted him out of there. But when you're in situations, you know how hindsight's 20/20? Yeah. When you're in a situation and you're the Academy and that just happens live, they're just trying to conceal whatever happened and not make a huge deal. Like if they went to Will Smith's seat and dragged him out of there, it would make an even bigger fuss. So I don't necessarily blame them for not kicking him out because I think they were probably behind the scenes being like, what the hell do we do? Like, we're on live television.
Yeah.
And I thought it was... I get some people online are being like, oh, Will Smith, defend your wife. I personally think it was inexcusable. I think the joke was made in bad taste. I think comedians, though, are known for pushing the lines and being insulting, and that's kind of what they do. Do I think the joke was good? no, I think it was an awful joke. It wasn't nice. It wasn't sensitive. I don't know the backstory if he knows her situation, Jada's situation with alopecia or whatever she allegedly is suffering with. I don't know the severity. I don't know Chris Rock's knowledge of the situation. But what I do know is that it was a really absurd thing to stand up, walk up to him and slap him across the face on live television, on a stage. I think it was kind of like, and I haven't even heard anyone say this, it's kind of like a sucker punch. Like he didn't even have time to queue up and fight back because he just got slapped across the face.
I don't really know how I feel about it. Like one half of me is like, that's insane, absurd, overreaction, you should never hit someone. But like the other half of me is like, Chris Rock made this fucked up joke about his wife. Like he kind of deserved to get slapped. And maybe if it was like a different situation, I would have been like, fuck yeah, like hit him. Like what happened? Like no, I take that back. Not hit him, but like an eye for an. I mean,
I'm
eye
down
for an eye
for him
never makes the world
confronting.
Blind.
Like confront him.
Yeah.
Like I think Will Smith could have stood up and just been
but like now they're on even ground. You know, like he made the bad joke about his wife, then he gets to slap him.
Who just slapped someone across the face?
Yeah,
like,
and he didn't like punch him; he just slapped him. So it's kind of like,
but it was huge.
It was insane. I mean, you should never hit anyone, no matter what.
I don't know. I think it's wild.
I do get him wanting to like defend his wife, but it was just
not
the time or place.
I think he probably felt
to do it.
Like Will Smith was probably like, "How dare you embarrass my wife on national television in front of all my peers?"
Yeah, and I guess that Chris Rock has made fun of Jada a bunch of times in different speeches for different award shows.
I know, but just like
I know. No matter
aggressive.
what, like you should just. It's the Oscars. Like you should never get up on stage and hit
you're
someone.
not in a bar fight.
Yeah,
I think that's the thing. It was like the setting of it.
Yeah.
If they were out in the wild and whatever.
Yeah.
It's different vibes. But I also think someone said this on Instagram, which I thought was really interesting. They were like, had Kanye done that, it would have been in an uproar. People would have literally taken him out. No one would have been supporting him. But because Will Smith doesn't have like a reputation of flying off the handle, like he's very like cool and well liked. Yeah. Everyone was like consoling him. Yeah. So it was a really also interesting reaction to see this man assault another man, and then everyone was like cool with him. The whole thing was just really quite bizarre.
I mean, and then then when they were doing the nomination for Best Actors, I was like, if he wins this, like, this is just going to be the icing on the cake. And then he won, and then people were applauding him, rooting him on, standing up for him. It was wild to see.
His speech was sending. Well, not only was it long and weird, and I was like, "Are you good?" It was ASMR. Like he was like, I wanted to die. It wasn't just him. The mics must have been so strong, and he was like sniffling and crying into it that all I heard was like, and I was like, chills down my spine. I was like, why am I listening to ASMR right now? Like I'm bugging out. But his speech was just bizarre and long, and it was this weird parallel of like saying how his character his character in the movie King Richard stands up for his family. Yes. Like he was almost like personifying that in real life. So it's like, he was
like using it as like a metaphor, as like to defend
but it's like
what he did.
We're not in the movie. The whole thing was it was really mind-boggling to watch. I could hardly sleep. I was like, how am I supposed to go to sleep after a slap like that?
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's just weird how he used like his character to kind of like his movie character to kind of defend what he did. And he also like was like, I apologize to the Academy and my fellow nominees, but you're not going to be like, I apologize for hitting someone in front of everyone. No, because he felt right. Yeah. I was a vessel of love, is what he said. Yeah. Like, what?
He's like, God told me, the devil, what? I'm like, what are we talking about?
Yeah, he was like, sometimes love makes you do crazy things. And it's like, yeah, I get that, but it's like,
especially when they're known,
the time or place.
and they're known to have a tumultuous relationship with infidelity and
yeah.
openness.
Also, that was the icing on the cake on that whole relationship stuff, because that's been such a thing going on in the media right now. Is like they would not shut the fuck up about their weird relationship in the media all the time, and now this happens, and it's just like another thing happening with Will Smith and Jada. Another like crazy moment where you're like, why are these two people still
together?
Yeah.
But it's like, obviously there's a lot of love there.
Clearly.
You know.
And what I also don't get is like, he like laughed. He laughed a little bit, and then Jada looked mad.
But we didn't see his reaction to seeing her pissed.
Yeah.
That's the camera cut away.
Yeah, I would love to see that.
So we don't know what happened in between. There's like 5 seconds missing.
Yeah.
That a lot changed.
Yeah.
Which is bizarre.
It's so bizarre. I would have loved to be a fly on the wall in that room.
So Teffy, who was on the podcast a few weeks ago, was at the awards.
Oh, yeah.
And she was on TikTok being like, you guys. She's like, that was real. She's like, I was sitting upstairs and the audience audibly gasped. She's like, and she was there, I guess, invited by the Academy. And someone from the Academy is like, you think we would stage this? Like, we would never want violence to go down.
I know, you could just tell.
Like, they were freaking out. And she was like, guys, that was not staged.
I felt so bad for the production room. I was just like, damn, they are literally running around with their heads on fire. Yeah. And then Venus Williams had a nip slip.
Did she? What?
Yes. You didn't see that? During Will Smith's speech, they cut to Venus Williams and she had a nip slip. Then they cut to like that Oscars over page, and they cut back to her, and she still had the slip.
What?
Yeah,
that's the biggest plot twist of this whole.
It was just like they just cannot get it right now.
When a nip slip gets less attention than something else, you know the other thing is really bad.
Yeah, that's so true, honestly.
Because otherwise, that would have been the news of the night.
I was just like, no way that that just happened too. Like,
was it blurred out or was it full nip?
It was not full nip. It was like she's wearing like a dress
side.
that was like a U
keyhole
over the boobs. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I guess it was like a small nip out. Yeah, and it was just like, oh my god.
Free the nipple.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I watched Bridgerton. Did you watch it?
Yeah, I watched the first like 4 or 5 episodes. Did you see my tweet?
No, what did you say?
I tweeted, just watched 3 hours of Bridgerton and there wasn't one sex scene.
Yep, that's my problem.
Useless and disappointed.
Okay, that's my biggest issue. So, I didn't remember season 1. You know, like there's so much happens. And then in that recap section of season 1, I was like, oh my God, like I wish I watched that first to refresh myself. I didn't. I just jumped into season 2, started it. I think he looked hot, the main character. I think the main female lead was gorgeous and her sister. It was nothing about them like not being attractive. It was about the chemistry between them. I didn't feel like there was enough in the first, like you're 5 episodes in and like nothing's happened between them. Like I felt like
it is the biggest slow burn.
Yeah. I'm like, we are tuning into this to see a love story unfold and like they hate each other this whole time.
Yeah.
Give us more. I wanted more romance.
Yeah.
And I also thought that it was a huge departure from the first season where, because I went back and watched some of the first season because I wanted to compare. Where the first season, they really talked in detail about how the women at that time didn't know what sex was and they didn't know how you conceived and they didn't know anything. Like they were so in the dark. And I don't think they were touching on that enough, like that aspect of the time that they were in.
Yeah.
It just kind of seemed like everything that we learned about in season 1 was like glossed over. And I'm also not like a huge show critic. Like I love bad TV. Like I love Hibbly shows, which Bridgerton is. And I still enjoyed it, but I just like, it fell short to me.
It fell short. I mean, I haven't finished yet, so I was still not sure.
That's like basically what happened. Like,
yeah.
It just stays that way.
I've seen some spoilers on TikTok, but I like enemies to lovers. Like I like that trope. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's just a lot of like glances and like hand touches and like small things where you're like, like Just kiss.
I like enemies to lovers too, but I also, when I first was watching it, I was like, wait, this is what season 1 was about. They were enemies. Like, I kind of was like, it was the same thing, and it's done worse.
Because he's engaged to his sister. And
it's just like, the sister. Then it really freaked me out when he got engaged to the sister, because I was like, what the hell? How's this going to transpire?
Like, if I was the sister, I'd freak the fuck out.
And the sister's lovely.
Yeah,
she
so
deserves
cute.
the world.
I know. Yeah, I don't know. I like it because it's like, it's good. It's fun to watch. Like, if you don't have anything to watch, you should definitely watch it. But yeah, it's definitely, it just does not do the first season justice at all.
The music wasn't as captivating.
Yeah, no. Except that one scene when they're dancing and they do Dancing on My Own with the violins and stuff. I was like, yes.
But I wanted more of that throughout. Like, I don't know. I just felt like it wasn't done as well. But so next season, I never read the books or anything. Is the next season just about one of the other siblings?
Yeah.
Which one? The girl? Let's see. I'm going to Google
look
this.
it up. I'm not sure. If I had to assume, I feel like it would be about Eloise.
I was like sizing up the other siblings to be like,
Yeah.
Do I want you to lead this?
And apparently in the books, the brothers are like way more of assholes. Like, they're really? Like, not good people.
Should I read the books when I go to Paris?
Yeah, you should. I was thinking about reading the books too.
I know, because books are so much better.
They're so much better.
Okay. Let's see. Everything to know about Bridgerton season 3. Oh my God. Get ready for even more Bridgerton. While season 2 recently hit Netflix, the series has already been renewed. It's returning for a 3rd and 4th season. Okay.
That's not surprising.
Season 3 could get a little creative when it comes to adapting Julia Quinn's book series. It's always my goal to focus on a different Bridgerton sibling every season, and it's no secret that there are 8 Bridgerton siblings.
Oh, wow. Okay.
We will be on as long as Netflix will have us, but I would love to focus on every single one of those 8 Bridgerton siblings and tell romantic stories for all of them. I just got the chills.
That's interesting because some of them are like really young.
I know, but by the kids...
Yeah, I guess by the time they'll like...
By the time you film, it's going to be like 4 years from now by the time we get to the youngest ones, and they'll be like 16.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, when you're that age, you grow up so quickly. And in the show, they get married at 16, so it's not that weird.
Yeah, I don't know. I just like... I mean, obviously, it's how the books went, so Daphne goes first, but like... Now I wish they didn't do Daphne first because she was the best.
The best one!
And Simon was the best, and that season just... did something to me.
It did something because I rewatched it yesterday.
Because their sexual chemistry was just off the charts.
I didn't even remember how good it was until I rewatched it.
Yeah.
Because I saw it Friday with my friend Jill. We started watching it Friday. I finished it Saturday, season 2. So then yesterday on Sunday, I rewatched parts of season 1. Yeah. And honestly, I flew through it because I was just fast forwarding to the parts of them that I wanted to see. Like, I was fast forwarding through like the bullshit. So it was like 10 minutes an episode. So I watched a few and I was like, oh my God, this is like, now I remember. It was so steamy and they had amazing chemistry.
Steamy.
And the way they like exchanged glances. Yeah. And I was like, that's what I was missing.
Yeah. Yeah. I like a good slow burn with the enemies to lovers stuff.
High
but like
burn for you.
Yeah, that was such a good moment when they're in the rain.
Oh, it was so good. It was so
we're just not getting any of that because like they are really enemies and it's like this whole other...
But like they're also not. It's the same thing. It's like they're enemies, but they also love each other. It's like that like weird balance.
It's just too many episodes. Like they should have had it going for like 3 episodes and then they finally kiss.
Yes, because I don't mind.
I'm on like the 5th episode and they still haven't kissed. Their lips get so close. I'm like, just kiss. Kiss.
That's what I was watching it. I'm like, is today the day? Like,
yeah. Like, it's so frustrating, but...
Oh, it's so frustrating.
Yeah.
Also, like, if you were in that time period, do you think someone would take your innocence? Like, do you think...
Is that, like, losing your virginity?
No, it's like they kiss you before you get engaged.
Oh.
Like, I wonder if I would be a lady or not.
No. I know I wouldn't be.
You wouldn't be a lady?
No.
I kind of think I would. I feel... I don't know.
But like, what?
But I'm also kind of
imagine
badass.
a Simon coming up to you and being like, "I want to kiss you," and you're like,
I know. I'd probably do it in the gardens. I want to put a pole up.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I feel like it depends. I feel like it's the only people that wouldn't are like the people that are like saving themselves for marriage. You know
get
what I
it, but
mean?
if you're trained your whole life and it's hammered into your
Yeah,
head.
if you're like a rule follower.
Yeah, I'm kind of a rule follower.
And I guess it depends on the guy too. Like if it was a sexy man.
I'm a rule follower, but I also slip up. So like I don't.
No, I agree. I mean, I'm not really a rule follower, but I feel like if the right guy came around, like
if it was Simon,
Yeah.
forget about it.
Yeah.
I'd ride off on that horse into the sunset.
Yeah. I don't even. I mean, that's just insane to me that you can't even kiss before getting married. Like just
They can't even hold hands. If you're seen,
if
I
you've
would
seen like
purposely.
dancing with someone, that means that you guys are like together.
I would try to have the hottest man be caught with him in public, him touching my back. So then we had to get engaged.
Yeah, that's like that was crazy when Lady Featherington whatever, and now the girl's getting like married to her cousin.
Yes.
Like, what is happening?
I don't like those Featheringtons.
No, I hate the.
I could do without them.
I hate the mean mom with the stepsister.
Yeah.
Like fairy tale like trope. That's in everything. Like the bad mom with the mean sisters. Okay, can we do?
They're
something
always
new?
redhead too.
Yeah, why is that?
Right? Like, this is so mean for redheads, but I always feel like they make the ugly ducklings redheads.
Yeah.
Like the cousins that, like, no
Yeah,
one wants
yeah,
to marry.
yeah.
Like in a Cinderella story,
No,
too.
yeah, totally.
It's like justice for redheads.
Yeah, they're beautiful
They're amazing.
and they're unique.
But they always, like, give them this weird role. I guess
I know.
everything's always kind of typecast,
And
though.
like gingers always get like cast as like the nerd. I feel like.
Or, like, the sexy vixen.
Yeah, that's true. Like Poison Ivy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man. All right, guys. That's it for today's episode. Thanks for sticking along throughout all of that. I will see you next week and also April 7th. Get your tickets. Bye.